Okay, so to get started, I'd like for you all to tell me on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being no anxiety, 10 being the most anxiety you've ever felt in your life. How are you feeling about this opinion editorial?
A 7.
A 7, so pretty high. Okay. Laura?
I'm feeling like a 4-ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So middling levels of anxiety. How did your drafts turn out?
I already formatted it to look like a Vox editorial. So I got a lot of comments saying it looks just like from a website. And yeah, so I think for now I'm just focusing on what I actually wrote on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking of, because I went over the word limit, I'm thinking of just cutting it down mostly.
Okay. Gabrielle, how was your first draft?
It was good. I didn't get a lot of comments actually. I think I feel more of a 7 with anxiety though, because I've never done it before. And like looking at other opinion editorials, like because I'm doing mine towards like for BuzzFeed.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like not overwhelmed, maybe overwhelming because I'm getting ahead of myself, but I don't want to go like I kind of want it to look almost identical to like that, if that makes sense. And I've never like written an opinion editorial before, so it's kind of like super new.
Right, it's brand new. It's an entirely new kind of writing. So what questions do you all have for me going forward, moving from your first draft to your final draft?
So one question is it okay to use first person or second person?
Totally.
Like I or you? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You'll find that in most op-eds, the writer uses first person pronouns. Especially for Vox. Vox is pretty informal.
Right, yeah.
Okay. So when we're citing, not citing, but should we just mention the article that we like use to like back us up, or should we like cite it at the end? How should we go about that?
Okay. So I assume that you're linking out to the articles.
Yes.
Okay. So I would like for you to have a works cited page at the end, and you can format that MLA, Chicago APA, however you like. But if you are drawing on outside resources, I would like for you to have a works cited page.
Okay.
Since it's just the two y'all, would you like for me to take a look at your drafts?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I'll
Yeah,
share my
same.
screen.
Let me enable screen sharing, and then I'll take a look and give you some feedback. Okay, Laura, you go first.
Give me a minute.
Take your time.
Okay, it's loading.
So my usual policy is I will only go over drafts if you make a Zoom appointment with me. But if you want to go over a draft with me, I will do everything in my power to make a Zoom appointment happen. Well, right off the bat, it looks great. I see why your peers were impressed with your formatting. Did you how did you do this? Did you do screenshots from the Vox website?
Yes, exactly. I used screenshots over here. I used screenshot. Well, actually, this is a image from stock,
Okay.
and I used a screenshot from a different website.
Okay.
Should I add more visuals? Because these are the only visuals I have.
So what do other Vox articles do?
Oh, other Alex articles, they do include like graphs. They don't use that many images, so I just put one. and the rest is just text.
Okay, so I encourage you to follow along with the conventions of Vox. Don't, if they just include a couple of visuals, then you just include a couple of visuals.
Okay, thank you.
And you can talk about that in your reflection.
Yeah.
So what I'm gonna have you do is so can I take a look at your reflection?
Oh, yes.
So before I even look at the op-ed, this is how I'm gonna be grading these, is mostly based on your reflection. Hmm. Okay, so I have a good grasp on why you would choose a young audience. This subject matter is relevant to a young audience. I would like to see you incorporate some evidence from your own writing to back up your claim that you're targeting a young audience. So like, what about your writing style would appeal to a young audience?
Oh, okay, thank you. I think I use a lot of colloquialism in my writing. I made sure not to overcomplicate anything, and I made sure to also include an interview from someone who is in college, someone who is the same age as possibly the readers who are looking at it.
Great. So I want for you to be talking about all of those things in your reflection. So what I'm looking for in these reflections is that you're making specific claims about your rhetorical situation, and you're backing up those claims with evidence from your writing. So like you could say like, I targeted a younger audience by using colloquialisms. For example, here is a sentence from my piece, and that type of language would appeal to a younger audience.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I'm really looking at your reflection for not too much discussion of your topic itself, but rather discussion of your writing.
Yeah, so should I talk more about my topic?
No, I think that there's too much discussion of your topic in this reflection right now.
Okay.
And then I also would like for you to talk about what you did in your writing to make it a good fit for Vox.
Oh, okay.
So like, what would you have done differently if you were pitching it to the New York Times?
That's something I had to think about.
Right. I know that I can tell by the way that you thoughtfully answered my question about your visuals that you have spent some time with some Vox op-eds, and you know the conventions of Vox op-eds. And I'd like to see you talk about what you did to fit those conventions in your reflection. You can talk about using first person pronouns and how the Vox articles tend to go for a more informal style.
Yeah.
Does that all make sense? Is that helpful?
Yeah, it really is. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Gabrielle, would you like for me to have a look at yours?
Sure. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, so I mean,
Do you guys see which one do you want to see first, the reflection or the op-ed?
I'd like to see the reflection first.
Okay, so this is the yeah, this was my reflection.
Okay, so I assume your title is a work in progress.
Yeah, it is. For both of them, not even, yeah, it is.
But you get the idea. You get the idea of what, like the type of titles that BuzzFeed uses, and I see that you're trying. You're gonna get there. You're gonna have. So I would like to see you get more specific in your claim about audience. So is your piece directed at,
Wait, hold on, Professor. I don't think this is the one I submitted. I think this was the first like draft I did. Hold on, I think I have been reading the wrong one. I'm sorry.
no worries.
Professor, I have to leave now, but thank you so much for the tips. It really helped.
You are so welcome. Please send me an email or feel free to set up an appointment if you have any other questions or concerns.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Professor, I found it now.
Okay.
This is the one. This is the correct one.
Okay, so I'm seeing some of the same issues that I saw with Laura's reflection. So your audience is anyone who's suffered from the healthcare system.
Yeah.
So I want you to back that up with evidence that you made your article accessible to anyone.
So back it up with evidence like how I'm making it accessible to that audience, right?
Right. So I see you later on, you go down, you say you define the issue of healthcare. I see. So you're offering definitions for the basic terms.
Yeah.
To me, that's evidence that you're targeting everyone because you don't need to arrive at this article with a lot of existing knowledge.
Okay.
So you could use that as evidence. You could also use, I assume if you're pitching to BuzzFeed, you're using less formal language.
Yeah.
Maybe first person pronouns.
Yeah.
So maybe you might even be appealing to people's emotions through use of interview or
Could
personal account.
in my op-ed I have like this how I was kind of exposed to like the healthcare system, so I use like a personal thing. Could that be used as like how I'm trying to connect with the audience type?
Absolutely. Like you're using a personal example. You're doing a couple of things. You're creating an emotional connection with your reader, and you're also demonstrating to your reader that you're a credible person to talk about this because this is something that you've personally experienced.
Okay. All right.
So you should definitely talk about that in your reflection, and I think that helps build your case that your audience is anyone and everyone.
All right. Yeah. And then you see how Laura set hers up. Do you want us to set ours up like that too, or no?
The op-ed?
Yeah.
It's optional. I think it's great if you want to do that, but it's not required.
Okay. All right. And then anything else that you want to like comment on?
This is a strong start on the reflection. I would just like to see you pulling on more evidence from your op-ed.
Okay. All right. So just in the reflection, you want us to focus more on like our, not on the content of not on like what we're trying to prove, but how we execute it, right?
Exactly. How you execute it and why it's a good fit for the publication that you chose.
Okay.
So I would also like to see you discuss that some in your reflection. Like, what did you do to make your writing appropriate for BuzzFeed?
Okay. All right.
And then you use specific examples of words or sentences that you use that you think make your article a good fit for BuzzFeed.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Professor.
You are so welcome. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any more questions or concerns. I am here.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care.